So we are talking about immunity today, types of immunity. Immunity, we all know, is a state of protection against various infectious diseases, various pathogens like bacteria, virus or fungus. Immunity is given in various ways by our immune system, so that's what we are seeing today. In this video, we are seeing the overview of the whole immunity that we have, the mechanisms that it includes. Okay, so immunity, we know, is a state of protection, and this immunity basically our immune system gives us in two different ways. Okay, so immunity, remember, there are two ways you have immunity. One is innate and adaptive. Adaptive is also called as acquired. Now before we go on, let's just see what is the basic difference between these two. Innate, the term itself says it is something which is already present. Innately we have it, okay? We are born with this kind of immunity. That means even before we encounter any antigen, we have innate present. Whereas the adaptive or the acquired, the term itself suggests it is adapted or it is acquired later on when we encounter any antigen. That means innate is already present and adaptive will come later sometime when you encounter the antigen. Second important point is innate is non-specific. Okay, innate is non-specific and adaptive is very, very specific. As in, innate immunity, it is like common, it fights with all the types of antigen, doesn't matter virus, fungus or bacteria, in similar way. Okay, it is non-specific. Whatever antigen it is, it just know whatever mechanisms to fight against all pathogen in similar way. In case of adaptive, it is very, very specific, very sophisticated mechanisms it has for each specific type of antigen that enters. Okay, it needs to learn about the antigen. Specifically, it will know what type of antigen it is, and accordingly the adaptive immune response will come into the picture. So innate comes first always. It is always first the innate immunity which is fighting against the pathogen. Only if the innate is not able to get rid of the pathogen, or the pathogen is really so strong that it is crossing that barrier, innate will call for backup to adaptive. Okay, and then adaptive will come into the picture. So innate comes first, and that is why it provides first line of defense, and then comes adaptive. So this develops faster, adaptive takes time to develop. But the beautiful part of adaptive immunity is once it encounters any antigen, it will have the memory for that particular antigen in form of memory cells. And because of which, when the same antigen enters for the second time, that response is faster and also stronger. As I said, innate is type of non-specific immunity, and the major function of innate would be the first thing it would try is to stop any pathogen entering the body. Okay, so it will provide the first line of defense in form of anatomic and physiologic barriers that will actually try stopping the antigen or bacteria to entering in. Example would be skin or mucous membrane. Skin is difficult to penetrate by the organism. Even only if you have injury, that would be easy path for bacteria to enter. Otherwise, it's difficult for organism to enter. So skin gives you a mechanical barrier kind of a thing that would retard the entry of microorganism. When it comes to mucous membrane, mucous membrane lines the surfaces of area which are generally exposed to the outside environment, like your respiratory tract. So when organism is trying to enter through this route, what happens is this mucous membrane, the cells are generally lined with cilia. Mucous membrane produce mucus. Now what is the function of this mucus? Why do we need such viscous fluid coming out? The very good function of mucus is it will trap the incoming organism. And the cilia will throw the pathogen out. Okay, so that's how mucous membrane is going to give you the barrier to stop the entry of any pathogen. This, you can say, is your first line of defense. Main function is it is going to stop any pathogen entering. What if the organism is smart enough to cross this? Let's see what happens. suppose the pathogen is smart enough to cross this anatomic and physiologic barrier. Okay, one point that I forgot to mention is physiologic barrier, like your low pH of your stomach also is a kind of physiologic barrier, because once the pathogen enters, suppose this is like so acidic that the organism cannot survive in such a low pH. Also, your temperature of body, when you have fever, the fever actually is a kind of mechanism which is trying to make it unfavorable for the pathogen, because pathogen would not able to survive easily in such high temperatures. So fever is a good sign that your body is actually fighting against something. Now the second line of defense, suppose as I said, if the organism is able to cross these barriers, somehow it enters the body, then what happens? Then you have your second line of defense of innate. One of the very important and very commonly known among all of us is something called as phagocytosis. Now phago means eating, right? In Greek it means eating. That means what? Cell is eating something. What it is eating? Which cell? Our cells, which have the ability of performing phagocytosis, the cells called as phagocytes, can eat something. Something as in the foreign pathogen which has entered, that is called as phagocytosis. So the incoming pathogen can be taken up by these cells, it will be degraded, digested and will be released. So what are types of phagocytes we have? The phagocytes we have are types of white blood cells. Say for example, neutrophils are type of phagocytic cell. Macrophages are type of phagocytic cells. Dendritic cells. Now in some books it's like dendritic cells are not told directly at phagocytic cells, but they can take up the antigen, degrade the antigen and show it on their receptor. So neutrophils, macrophage and dendritic cell. Let's see how this works. There is a very important mechanism shown by macrophages and dendritic cell. Neutrophils, simple phagocytic cell, they will phagocytize the bacteria and digest the bacteria. Macrophage and dendritic cell have one more step ahead. These two cells can act as antigen presenting cell. They can act as antigen presenting cell. Now what do I mean by this? Antigen presenting, as in they are presenting antigen. Suppose this is my dendritic cell. It takes up some bacteria. Okay, it has a receptor and it will put it on the receptor. What is the function of this? Why? Now this receptor, the same thing happens for macrophages. So this receptor is MHC class 2. MHC stands for major histocompatibility complexes, and the antigen presenting cells would always have MHC class 2. Okay, there are various classes and all the more detail you can go about, but as of now remember, antigen presenting cells will have MHC class 2 that can take up the part of piece of that antigen and present it to, say for example, T helper cell. Okay. Now T helper cell can recognize this particular pathogen part or the peptide and it will show further immune response. Okay, so where I was telling about phagocytosis by neutrophils, macrophage and dendritic cell take up the bacteria and digest the bacteria. One extra function of macrophage and dendritic cell is that they act as antigen presenting cell, as in they will present this part of antigen to adaptive immunity so that they can further take up and show immune response to this kind of pathogen. Inflammation, how it looks like, if you have injury somewhere, there will be a bumpy thing and red area, it will become red and little swelling will be there, little bit pain will be there. Sometimes the temperature of that particular region will be slightly higher than your other body temperature. So inflammation is something generally comes into picture. If you have injury somewhere and at that injured area you will have inflow of some unwanted bacteria, at point, the first very important thing happens by mast cell which secretes histamine. The first thing that histamine does is vasodilation. Diameter of your blood capillary at particular injured area would increase. A good amount of fluid and cells would be there at affected area to fight. And the second thing it would do is increasing capillary permeability. So the phagocytic cells in this particular region used to go out from the capillary to the affected area. This movement that is called as diapedesis. Okay? And still, if the bacteria is smart enough to cross all of this, then comes the adaptive immunity. Now let's talk about adaptive. Adaptive or acquired, as I said, once the innate immunity is not able to deal with the antigen, then adaptive comes into the picture. The adaptive type includes two types of mechanisms here. It is based on types of lymphocytes that we have. Lymphocytes are also again a type of white blood cells. We have two types of lymphocytes called as B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. Both of this, B and T, they are produced in bone marrow, hematopoiesis, but B lymphocytes will stay there only and get matured in bone marrow itself. Okay, so B lymphocytes get matured in bone marrow, and T lymphocytes get matured in thymus. Remember it this way. Okay, B lymphocyte and T lymphocyte, bone marrow and thymus, site of maturation. Now, what is the function of these two lymphocytes? These two lymphocytes provide us two types of acquired or adaptive immunity. B lymphocytes gives us something which is called as humoral immunity, and T lymphocytes gives us cell mediated immunity. Why these names? Humoral name came because B lymphocytes show immunity in form of antibodies, which is present in our blood, and that fights against the bacteria which is present in the blood itself. Bacteria which has not yet infected the cell, or maybe it is infected, but the part of antigen or the antigen which is in the blood, it is fighting against that. Okay, so everything is there in the blood, in the fluid, that is humors. That means body's fluid, and thus the name humoral immunity by B cell. And cell mediated immunity because it is the T cell, types of T cells like T helper cell and TC cell that is fighting. So by cell against the antigen which has infected our cell. Okay, for any intracellular bacteria, pathogen or virus, it is called as cell mediated immunity. Let's first see humoral immunity, which is given by B lymphocyte. So how it works, B lymphocyte would have antibody on their surface which act as receptor for any particular antigen. Say for example, there is one bacteria which has entered and it is there in the blood, that would be recognized by some B cell. It will recognize some bacteria. Now if it is first encounter, just randomly some B cell has come in contact with some bacteria, there is no much specificity, but that might result in some triggering. Okay, there is also a route of T helper cell secreting cytokine and activating B cell, that is also a route. If the B cell is finding some antigen, finding some bacteria, gets activated, what happens is it will start proliferating, as in it will make lots and lots of copy of itself, and it will differentiate it into two types. This B cell would differentiate into two types. One which is called as effector cell, named as plasma B cells, and the second one would be memory B cells. What is the function of these two cells? Plasma B cell will secrete lots and lots of antibodies which is specific to the bacteria that it has encountered or specific to the pathogen that it has encountered. And the memory cell would have the memory in form of receptor which is specific to the bacteria or the pathogen that it has encountered. So when B cell encounters any pathogen, it will proliferate, produce two types of cell, plasma cells, which produces antibody, which is very specific to the pathogen, and the memory cell, which is going to store this detail in form of the receptor. When the same antigen, if at all it is entering for the second time, you already have the cells ready, and very fast and very specific strong B cell immunity or the humoral immunity will be there. If it is, suppose if it is intracellular bacteria, even before it goes and try to infect your cell, B cell can deal with this bacteria in the blood. Now let's see the cell mediated immunity. Cell mediated immunity is given by T lymphocytes, and we will have two types of T lymphocytes here. T helper cells and cytotoxic TC cells. Now, T helper cells directly cannot kill any pathogen, but as the name suggests, it helps other cells which can actually kill the pathogen. Now, T helper cell and TC cell will have different way to fight against the pathogen. Generally, how we differentiate these two type of cell is T helper cell would have something called a CD4 on their surface, CD4 molecule, and TC cell would have CD8 on their surface. Okay, if this is my T cell, it would have CD4 and TC would have CD8. Now what is the importance of these two? As of now you remember that I was talking about the antigen presenting cell, right? The antigen presenting cell has MHC class 2 that presented to T helper cell. Now this CD4 can recognize MHC class 2 which has any antigen part on antigen presenting cell. Okay. Say for example, this is my antigen presenting cell which has got some bacteria, part of some bacteria. This is my MHC class 2. That would be recognized by T helper cell which has CD8 on its surface. Sorry, which has CD4 on its surface. See, I get confused between this CD4, CD8. So I have found an easier way to remember this. Before I tell you more in detail, let me just tell you this before I forget. How I remember this: T helper cell has CD4, can recognize MHC class 2. Okay, how one I remember, second default I remember. H has two lines. Okay, 4 has two lines. MHC class 2 has two lines. That's how I remember. H has two lines, 4 has two lines, MHC class 2 has two lines. So the remaining is of course TC, which has CD8, and that would bind to MHC class 1. Even though sometimes when I speak wrong, I know I'm speaking wrong, immediately I will correct myself, as you just saw. That's what I did. So you can remember it this way if you want. What happens is when this antigen presenting cell, like we were talking about macrophage and dendritic cell, when they are presenting it to T helper cell, now when this interaction happens, this cell is actually, there is a chemical talk in between them that, hey, there is one antigen we are not able to fight, this is what it looks like, do something about it. And T helper cell would be like, okay dude, I'm trying to fight against it, let me see what type of antigen you have got. It will check and it will produce something called as cytokines. Now cytokines are various different types, remember, but as of now I remember T helper cell, the main function is to produce cytokines. That cytokine can activate TC cell, also it can activate B lymphocytes. See, the fate of T helper would be effector T helper cell. Like you had B effector cell, plasma cell producing antibody, here it is T helper. Effector cell, what is the function? Produce more of cytokines. As a result, more and more of effect is carried out. And another one would be memory T helper cells. Again the same thing, to remember whatever antigen it has encountered. TC cells are very very important, and they are like, on a real high post, because they are called into play when you have your own cells which are being infected. Your own cells which has got intracellular pathogen like virus or intracellular bacteria, and it is not able to do anything about it, it's been infected. Then what happens? Suppose you have your cell which is infected with virus. Now what happens? It's been infected with virus. You can't do anything about it. So this cell which has been infected, it's gonna die. It knows that I'm going to die. But what it does before it dies, it will put this part of antigen, whatever it could, on its surface receptor. This would be MHC class 1. I said TC would have CD8 that can recognize MHC class 1. Now I was telling MHC class 2 is present on antigen presenting cell. MHC class 1 is present in all the nucleated cells. So your RBC will not have it, but all other nucleated cells would have MHC class 1. So this particular cell, poor cell, which is actually going to die, before it dies, it will take the part of intracellular pathogen, put it in MHC class 1, so that TC cell know that okay, here this particular region, my cell is infected, it is gonna spread. Before it does, let me go and kill it. So this cell is actually asking for mercy death. This will be recognized by your TC cell that has CD8. This will recognize this particular combination of MHC1 and antigen, and it will release some lytic enzymes. As a result, it will kill this particular cell, and thus killing all the intracellular bacteria or pathogen that is present inside. So this can also, TC cell also shows similar mechanism against tumor cell. It is very very important against fighting tumor cells also, because the MHC class 1 on the tumor cells will be not as normal as your present on your normal cells. So that will sense that something is wrong, and it will lyse the cell. Okay, so we saw all different mechanisms and all. Let's just try to put it everything together as an overview and see whether we have understood it or not properly. This is just the overview. As I said, you can go much more in detail about each of them. I hope that was helpful, and hope that you understood the topic. If you did, please comment below. Now I know. That is all for now. See you next time. Until then, keep learning.